Maya Chen tied her running shoes and stepped outside her new house. The morning air was cool and fresh. She had moved to Willowbrook neighborhood just 2 weeks ago. The houses here were big and expensive. The lawns were perfect green. Everything looked like a picture from a magazine. She started jogging down Oak Street. Her breathing was steady and calm. Maya looked like any other woman going for a morning run. She wore simple black leggings and a gray t-shirt. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked normal and peaceful, but Maya was not normal at all. She was one of the most dangerous people in the world. The government had trained her to fight, to hide, and to kill when needed. She could speak 12 languages. She could use any weapon. She could disappear into a crowd like a ghost. Her real name was not even Maya Chen. That was just her cover story. For the last 10 years, Maya had worked for a secret part of the government. She went to dangerous places. She stopped bad people from hurting others. She had been to wars that nobody knew about. She had saved lives that would never be counted. But today, she was just trying to live a normal life for a while. Her boss had told her to rest. "Take a break," he had said. "Live like a regular person for a few months." So Maya had rented a house in this quiet neighborhood. She planned to jog every morning, read books, and maybe learn to cook. As she ran past the big houses, Maya noticed people watching her. An old woman watering her flowers stopped and stared. A man washing his car looked up and frowned. 2 women walking their dogs whispered to each other and pointed at her. Maya was used to this. In her real job, people often stared at her. But this was different. These people were not afraid because they knew she was dangerous. They were uncomfortable because she looked different from them. Most of the people in Willowbrook were white. Maya was mixed race. Her mother had been Korean and her father was African American. In some neighborhoods, this did not matter. But in places like Willowbrook, some people noticed right away. Maya did not let it bother her. She had bigger problems to worry about in her real life. Racist neighbors seemed small compared to international criminals and terrorists. She turned onto Pine Avenue. The houses here were even bigger. Some had gates and long driveways. Maya could see cameras on many of the houses. This was a neighborhood where rich people lived. They were worried about crime and strangers. A black SUV drove slowly behind her for 2 blocks. Maya noticed it right away. In her line of work, she always watched for people following her. She turned left onto Maple Street. The SUV kept going straight. Maya relaxed a little. It was probably just someone driving to work, but old habits were hard to break. Maya kept looking around as she ran. She noticed which houses had dogs. She saw which streets had the most cameras. She remembered where all the stop signs and streetlights were. If she ever needed to run away fast, she would know the best routes. Maya reached the small park in the center of the neighborhood. It had a playground, some benches, and a small pond. She stopped to stretch by a big oak tree. The park was empty except for one man reading a newspaper on a bench. As Maya stretched her legs, she felt peaceful for the first time in months. The sun was getting warmer. Birds were singing in the trees. She could smell flowers blooming somewhere nearby. This was nice. Maybe she could really get used to a normal life. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from her boss. "How's retirement going?" Maya smiled and typed back, "Boring. Just like you promised. Good, stay boring. The world will manage without you for a while." Maya put her phone away and started jogging again. She ran around the pond and then headed toward the tennis courts. A few early morning players were already hitting balls back and forth. They looked like they belonged here. They wore expensive tennis clothes and had perfect form. Maya wondered what it would be like to have hobbies like that. To worry about tennis games instead of life and death missions. To have friends she could tell the truth to. To sleep without keeping a gun under her pillow. She had tried normal relationships before. But it was hard to date someone when you could not tell them about your job. Hard to make friends when you might disappear for months at any time. Hard to trust anyone when your real job was not trusting anyone. As Maya jogged back toward the main street, she passed a group of mothers pushing strollers. They were talking about a school fundraiser and someone's upcoming birthday party. Normal problems. Normal conversations. One of the women looked at Maya with a strange expression. Not mean exactly. Just confused. Like she was trying to figure out if Maya belonged there. Maya nodded and smiled as she ran past. The woman did not smile back. This happened a lot in neighborhoods like Willowbrook. People were not used to seeing someone like Maya. They wondered if she lived there or if she was just visiting. They wondered if she could afford to live in such an expensive place. Maya could afford it. The government paid her very well for risking her life. She had more money saved than most of these neighbors would ever have. But they did not know that. They just saw a young black woman jogging through their perfect white neighborhood. Maya finished her run back at her house. She had jogged for exactly 45 minutes and covered 5 miles. Perfect timing and distance, just like everything else in her life. She went inside and made coffee. Through her kitchen window, she could see her neighbor watching her from his yard. He had been watching her every morning since she moved in. Maya waved at him. He looked away quickly and went back inside his house. Maya drank her coffee and planned the rest of her day. Maybe she would go grocery shopping. Maybe she would read a book in her backyard. Maybe she would take a nap without worrying about someone breaking in to kill her. It sounded wonderful and terrifying at the same time. Maya had no idea that her peaceful morning runs were about to end. She did not know that some people in the neighborhood had been talking about her, making plans, getting ready to cause trouble. Tomorrow would be different. Tomorrow her 2 worlds were going to crash together in a way she never expected. The next morning Maya started her run at the same time as always, 6:30 in the morning. The sun was just coming up behind the trees. The air was still cool, but she could tell it would be hot later. She had slept well for the first time in months. No nightmares about her last mission. No jumping awake at every small sound. Just normal, peaceful sleep. Maya was starting to think this retirement thing might actually work. She jogged down Oak Street past the same big houses. Today, fewer people were staring at her. Maybe they were getting used to seeing her around. Or maybe they were just too busy getting ready for work. Maya reached the park and stopped to stretch like always. She was bending down to touch her toes when she heard footsteps behind her. "Excuse me, miss." Maya turned around. 2 men were walking toward her. They wore blue uniforms that looked like police uniforms, but something was wrong. The uniforms did not fit right. One man's shirt was too small. The other man's pants were too long. Maya's training kicked in immediately. She noticed everything about them in just a few seconds. The first man was about 40 years old, short and heavy. He had a mean face and small, angry eyes. His uniform had stains on it. His badge looked cheap and fake. The second man was younger, maybe 25. He was tall and skinny with nervous eyes. He kept looking around like he was scared. His hands were shaking a little bit. "Can I help you?" Maya asked. She kept her voice calm and friendly, but inside she was already getting ready for trouble. "I'm Officer Frank Morrison," the heavy man said. He pointed to his fake badge. "This is Officer Dave Williams. We're with the HOA Enforcement Division." Maya had never heard of HOA enforcement officers. She knew HOA meant Homeowners Association, but homeowners associations did not have police officers. They just made rules about grass and house colors. "We need to see some identification," Frank said. His voice was rough and mean. "Is there a problem?" Maya asked. "Yeah, there's a problem," Frank said. "We've had reports of someone who doesn't belong in this neighborhood. Someone causing trouble." Maya knew this was about race. These men thought she did not belong here because she was not white. But she stayed calm. In her real job, she had dealt with much worse people than these 2. "I live here," Maya said. "On Oak Street." "Sure you do," Frank laughed. It was not a nice laugh. "Let's see that ID." Maya reached into her pocket and pulled out her driver's license. It showed her cover name, Maya Chen, and her address on Oak Street. Everything was perfect. The government made very good fake documents. Frank grabbed the license from her hand. He looked at it for a long time. Then he showed it to Dave. "This looks fake to me," Frank said. "What do you think, Dave?" Dave looked nervous. "I don't know, Frank. It looks real to me." "You don't know anything," Frank snapped at his partner. Then he looked back at Maya. "This is definitely fake." "Nice try, though." Maya felt her anger starting to rise, but she kept it hidden. Getting angry would not help right now. She needed to stay calm and figure out what these men really wanted. "The license is real," Maya said quietly. "I can show you other things if you want. I have mail with my address. I have my house keys." "Oh, you're good," Frank said. "You came prepared. But we know your type. You people think you can move into nice neighborhoods and cause problems." Now Maya was sure. This was definitely about race. These men were racists who did not want black people in their neighborhood. But something else was wrong, too. Real police officers, even racist ones, did not act like this. These men were pretending to be something they were not. "I'm not causing any problems," Maya said. "I'm just going for a run." "Running away from something, more likely," Frank said. "Dave, call it in. Tell them we got her." Dave pulled out a radio, but before he could use it, Maya spoke up. "Call what in? What exactly do you think I did wrong?" Frank stepped closer to Maya, too close. She could smell his breath. It smelled like cigarettes and coffee and something else, something chemical and bad. "You're trespassing," Frank said. "You're in this neighborhood illegally. We're going to have to take you in for questioning." "Trespassing where?" "I'm in a public park." "This is a private neighborhood park," Frank lied. "Only residents can use it. And you're not a resident." Maya knew he was lying. She had researched the neighborhood before moving there. The park was public. Anyone could use it, but Frank was already reaching for something on his belt. Maya saw handcuffs. Real handcuffs, not fake ones like his badge. This was getting serious. These men were planning to arrest her. Or worse, Maya's mind started working fast. In her real job, she would already be fighting. She could take down both men in less than 10 seconds. But she was supposed to be a normal person now. Normal people did not know how to fight like a trained killer. Also, Maya was curious. Who were these men? What did they really want? Why were they pretending to be HOA officers? "Officers," Maya said, using her most innocent voice. "I think there's been some mistake. Maybe we should call the real police to sort this out." Frank's face turned red. "We are the real police, you little—" He stopped himself before saying something very bad. "Then you won't mind if I call 911 to confirm," Maya said. She reached for her phone. Frank grabbed her wrist. Hard. "You're not calling anybody." That was a mistake. When Frank touched Maya, she felt something she had not felt in weeks. The urge to fight back. To hurt someone who was trying to hurt her. But Maya controlled herself. She let Frank hold her wrist. She acted scared like a normal person would be. "Please let go," she said in a shaky voice. "You're hurting me." "Good," Frank said. "Maybe now you'll listen. You're coming with us. Right now." "Where?" Maya asked. "Somewhere we can ask you some proper questions," Frank said. "About why you're really here. About who sent you." Now Maya was very interested. Who sent her? These men thought someone had sent her to the neighborhood. This was not just about racism anymore. Dave was still holding his radio, but he had not used it yet. He looked scared and confused. "Frank," Dave said quietly. "Maybe we should—" "Shut up, Dave," Frank said. "Get the van." A van. They had a van waiting somewhere. Maya looked around and saw it parked across the street. It was white with no windows in the back. The kind of van that bad people used to take people away. Maya made a decision. She would let them take her. Not because she was scared, but because she wanted to know what this was really about. In her real job, Maya had learned that the best way to find out what bad people were planning was to let them think they had won. Then when they felt safe, they would tell her everything. "Okay," Maya said. She made her voice sound defeated and scared. "I'll come with you. Just please don't hurt me." Frank smiled. It was an ugly smile. "That depends on how well you cooperate." Dave brought the van across the street. Maya could see it was not a real police van. It was just a regular van painted white. The license plate was dirty and bent. "Get in," Frank said, pushing Maya toward the van. Maya stumbled a little, acting clumsy and scared. But really, she was looking at everything. The van's license plate number, the dent in the front bumper, the way Dave kept looking around nervously. These were not police officers. They were not even real HOA enforcement people. They were criminals pretending to be something they were not. And Maya was about to find out what they really wanted. Frank grabbed Maya's arm and pulled her toward the van. His grip was tight and mean. Maya let him think he was in control, but she was watching everything. The van was old and dirty inside. There were no seats in the back, just metal walls and a dirty floor. It smelled bad, like old food and something else Maya recognized from her work. Fear. This van had been used to scare people before. "Get in the back," Frank ordered. Maya climbed into the van, still acting scared and helpless. Dave got in the driver's seat. Frank got in the passenger seat and turned around to watch Maya. "Put your hands behind your back," Frank said. Maya did what he told her. Frank put plastic zip ties around her wrists instead of real handcuffs, another sign that these men were not real police officers. As the van started moving, Maya used all her senses to gather information. She could smell things that most people would never notice. Dave smelled like soap and fear. His hands were shaking on the steering wheel. This was probably his first time doing something like this. But Frank smelled different. He smelled like cigarettes and something chemical. Maya knew that smell. It was methamphetamine, a dangerous drug that made people crazy and violent. Frank also had tattoos on his arms. Maya could see parts of them under his fake uniform. They were prison tattoos, the kind that criminals got when they were locked up. So, Frank said, turning around to look at Maya, "What's your real name?" "Maya Chen," Maya said. "I already showed you my ID." "That ID is fake," Frank said. "We know who you really are." Maya's heart started beating faster. Did they know her real identity? Had her cover been blown? If these men knew she was a secret agent, she was in serious danger. "I don't know what you're talking about," Maya said. Frank laughed. "Sure you don't. Just like you don't know why you moved to Willowbrook exactly 2 weeks ago. Just like you don't know why you jog the same route every morning at exactly the same time." Maya felt cold. These men had been watching her since she moved in. They knew her routine. This was not random racism. This was planned. "Lots of people have routines," Maya said. "Not like yours," Frank said. "You're too perfect. Too careful. You check your surroundings like someone trained you. You notice things that normal people don't notice." Maya tried to look confused. "I don't understand, Dave," Frank said. "Tell her what we know." Dave looked in the rearview mirror. He looked sick and scared. "Frank, maybe we should tell her," Frank shouted. Dave jumped. "We know you moved here from a fake address in Chicago. We know you paid cash for 6 months of rent. We know you don't have a job, but you have money. We know you work out like a soldier." Maya's mind was racing. How did they know all this? Someone had been investigating her. Someone with resources and connections. "I have savings," Maya said. "And I like to stay in shape." "Right," Frank said. "And I'm sure it's just a coincidence that 3 other women just like you have moved to nice neighborhoods in the last month. All of them jogging every morning. All of them acting like normal housewives, other women." Maya felt a chill. If these men had information about other female agents, this was bigger than she thought. "I don't know about any other women," Maya said. "Course you don't," Frank said. He pulled out his phone and showed Maya a picture. "Recognize her?" Maya looked at the picture. It showed a woman jogging in what looked like another expensive neighborhood. The woman was Asian, about Maya's age. Maya had never seen her before, but she could tell from the way the woman moved that she was trained. "Probably military or law enforcement. I've never seen her," Maya said. "How about her?" Frank showed another picture. This time it was a white woman with blonde hair. She was also jogging, also in an expensive neighborhood. Like the first woman, she moved like someone with combat training. "I don't know her either," Maya said. Frank put his phone away. "Well, they don't know you either. But they're all going to the same place you're going." "Where are we going?" Maya asked. "You'll see," Frank said. "But first we need to make a phone call." Frank dialed a number on his phone. Maya listened carefully to every word. "Yeah, it's Frank," he said. "We got her. No problems. She's playing dumb just like the others. Okay, we'll be there in 20 minutes. Frank hung up and smiled at Maya. "The boss wants to meet you." The boss. Someone was running this operation. Someone who knew about female agents and was collecting them for some reason. Maya needed more information. "What does your boss want with me?" "I'm just a regular person." "Regular people don't move to Willowbrook," Frank said. "You know how much houses cost there? You know what kind of background checks they do? Regular people can't afford it." He was wrong about that. Maya could afford it easily. But she understood his point. Someone had noticed that several women with similar profiles had moved to expensive neighborhoods at the same time. "Maybe we all just got good jobs," Maya said. "Yeah, right," Frank said. "Dave, turn left up here." Maya felt the van turn. She had been keeping track of their route in her head. They were heading toward the industrial part of town. Lots of empty warehouses and abandoned buildings. The perfect place to do bad things without anyone seeing. Frank's phone rang. He answered it quickly. "What? Are you sure? When?" "Okay, change of plans. Take her to the warehouse. We need to move fast." Frank hung up and looked angry and worried. "What's wrong?" Dave asked. "The cops found the Johnson house," Frank said. Someone talked. Dave went pale. "Oh no." "Frank, maybe we should—" "Shut up and drive," Frank yelled. "We need to get rid of the evidence. All of it, evidence." Maya's blood went cold. These men were not just collecting information about women. They were doing something to them. Something bad enough that they were worried about police finding evidence. Maya started working on the zip ties around her wrists. It was something she had learned in training. Most people could not break zip ties, but Maya was not most people. How many others are there? Maya asked, trying to sound scared instead of angry. Others what? Frank said. Other women like me. How many did you take? Frank smiled. You'll find out soon enough. Let's just say business has been good lately. Business. They were selling people. Human trafficking. Maya had worked cases like this before. Women were kidnapped and sold to people who wanted to hurt them or make them work as slaves. Maya felt her anger building. She had spent years fighting people like this, and now she had walked right into their trap. But they had made one big mistake. They thought Maya was a victim. They had no idea what she was really capable of. The van slowed down and turned into what looked like an abandoned industrial area. Maya could see old warehouses and empty parking lots. No people around. No witnesses. Almost there, Frank said. Hope you're ready to meet some new friends. Maya smiled in the dark. Frank could not see her face. I'm ready, she said quietly. But she was not ready to be a victim. She was ready to be the most dangerous thing these men had ever encountered. The zip ties around her wrists snapped silently. Maya kept her hands behind her back so Frank would not notice. Soon, very soon, these men were going to learn who Maya really was. The van pulled up to a large gray warehouse. Maya could see through the front windshield that the building looked empty and forgotten. The windows were broken or covered with boards. Weeds grew up through cracks in the parking lot, but Maya noticed things that Frank and Dave probably missed. Fresh tire tracks in the dirt, new locks on the doors, security cameras hidden in the shadows. This warehouse was not as empty as it looked. End of the line, Frank said. He got out and opened the back doors of the van. Maya kept her hands behind her back, pretending the zip ties were still holding them. She let Frank pull her out of the van roughly. Move, Frank said, pushing her toward a side door of the warehouse. As they walked, Maya counted everything she saw. 3 security cameras that she could spot. 2 other vehicles parked behind the building. At least 1 guard walking around the back of the warehouse. This was a professional operation. Someone with money and experience was running it. Dave knocked on the warehouse door in a pattern. 3 knocks, pause, 2 knocks, pause, 1 knock. Like a secret code, the door opened. A man Maya had never seen before looked out. He was tall and thin with cold eyes. He carried a gun on his belt. You Frank? The man asked. Yeah, we brought the package. The man looked at Maya and nodded. Boss is waiting inside. They walked into the warehouse. Maya's eyes adjusted quickly to the dim light inside. What she saw made her feel sick and angry at the same time. The warehouse had been divided into sections with metal fences, like cages, and in those cages were women. Maya could see at least 20 women, maybe more. They sat on old mattresses or wooden crates. Most of them looked scared and tired. Some looked like they had been crying. Some of the women were young, maybe still teenagers. Others were older. They came from different races and countries. But they all had one thing in common. They all looked like they had been taken against their will. Welcome to the collection center, Frank said with an ugly smile. Maya wanted to break his neck right there, but she forced herself to stay calm. She needed to understand how big this operation was before she acted. A man walked toward them from the back of the warehouse. He was short and fat with expensive clothes and gold jewelry. His shoes were shiny and new. This was someone with money and power. Mr. Rodriguez, Frank said. Here's the one you wanted. Rodriguez looked at Maya carefully. His eyes moved up and down like he was shopping for something. She's perfect, Rodriguez said. Young, fit, pretty. The client will be very happy, client. Maya felt her stomach turn. These people were selling women to other bad people. She gave us some trouble, Frank said. Kept insisting she was just a regular person. Rodriguez laughed. They always do that at first. Don't worry. A few days here and she'll be ready to cooperate. He walked closer to Maya. She could smell his expensive cologne and see the gold watch on his wrist. What's your name, sweetheart? Rodriguez asked. Maya Chen, Maya said in a small, scared voice. That's not your real name, Rodriguez said. But it doesn't matter. Your new owner will give you whatever name he wants. New owner. Maya clenched her fists behind her back. These people were talking about her like she was an object to buy and sell. Rodriguez pulled out his phone and took a picture of Maya. The client is very specific about what he wants. Athletic build, mixed race, combat training. You check all the boxes, combat training. Maya's blood went cold. They knew she was trained to fight. This was not just random human trafficking. Someone had specifically requested women like Maya. I don't have combat training, Maya said. Sure you don't, Rodriguez said. Just like you don't notice everything around you. Just like you don't move like someone who knows how to kill people. Maya tried to look confused. I don't know what you mean. Rodriguez nodded to one of his men. The man brought over a tablet computer and showed it to Rodriguez. Says here you moved to 4 different cities in the last 2 years, Rodriguez said, reading from the tablet. Always expensive neighborhoods. Always paid cash. Always lived alone. Always jogged every morning at the same time. Maya's heart was pounding. Someone had been tracking her for years. Someone with access to records and databases that regular criminals should not have. So what? Maya said. I like to exercise. And you always choose houses near parks or schools, Rodriguez continued. Places where you can watch children playing. Very interesting choice for someone who doesn't have kids. Now Maya understood. Someone thought she was watching children for bad reasons. They thought she was some kind of predator or spy. I like quiet neighborhoods, Maya said. Quiet neighborhoods with perfect views of sensitive locations, Rodriguez said. The park in Willowbrook is right next to the mayor's house. Did you know that? Maya had not known that. She had chosen her house because it was available and fit her budget. But someone else saw a pattern that was not there. Rodriguez walked around Maya in a circle, still looking at the tablet. Our research shows at least 6 women with your exact profile, he said. All of them moved to different cities at the same time. All of them with fake identities and suspicious behavior. 6 women. Maya wondered if they were all secret agents like her. Or if some of them were just innocent women who happened to fit the wrong profile. I think you work for someone, Rodriguez continued. Someone who trains women to gather information. Someone who places you in neighborhoods to watch important people. He was partially right. Maya did work for someone who trained women. But she was not watching the mayor or anyone else in Willowbrook. She was just trying to have a normal life for a while. You're wrong, Maya said. I'm just a regular person. Rodriguez stopped walking and looked directly at Maya. His eyes were cold and mean. We'll see about that, he said. Take her to cell block C, put her with the others. Frank grabbed Maya's arm again. But as they started walking toward the cages, Rodriguez's phone rang. What? Rodriguez answered angrily. When? How many? Are you sure they don't know about this place? Rodriguez hung up and looked worried. Change of plans, he said. The feds raided 3 of our pickup locations this morning. Someone tipped them off. Frank looked scared. Should we move the merchandise? Not yet, Rodriguez said. But we need to speed up the timeline. Call the clients. Tell them pickup is tomorrow instead of next week. Tomorrow. Maya felt panic rising in her chest. If they sold these women tomorrow, Maya might never be able to find them again. She looked around at all the scared faces in the cages. Young women who had been taken from their families. Women who might disappear forever if Maya did not do something. Maya made a decision. She was done pretending to be helpless. As Frank started to push her toward the cages, Maya spun around and grabbed his wrist. She twisted it hard and fast. Frank screamed and dropped to his knees. What the? Dave started to say. Maya kicked Dave in the stomach. He fell backward and hit his head on a metal post. Rodriguez was reaching for his gun, but Maya was faster. She grabbed Frank's fake badge and threw it at Rodriguez's face. While he was distracted, she ran toward the nearest cage. Everyone stay down, Maya shouted to the women in the cages. The real fight was about to begin. Maya dove behind a stack of wooden crates as Rodriguez pulled out his gun. The sound of the gunshot was loud in the warehouse. The bullet hit the crate right where Maya's head had been a second before. Kill her, Rodriguez shouted to his men. Maya could hear footsteps running toward her from different directions. She counted at least 4 men, maybe more. But Maya was not worried about the numbers. She was worried about the women in the cages. Stay down, Maya shouted to them again. Cover your heads. Maya looked around quickly. The warehouse was bigger than she had thought. She could see 3 separate areas with cages. Each area had about 10 women trapped inside. But that was not all. In the back corner of the warehouse, Maya saw something that made her blood run cold. There were shipping containers. Big metal boxes like the ones used to move things on boats. Maya had seen containers like this before in her work. Criminals used them to move people to other countries. Once someone was put in a shipping container, they could disappear forever. A man with a rifle ran around the corner of the crates. Maya was ready for him. She grabbed a piece of broken wood and swung it at his legs. The man fell hard. Maya took his rifle before he could get up. "How many more are there?" Maya asked him. The man just glared at her. Maya hit him in the head with the rifle butt. He went to sleep immediately. Maya checked the rifle. It was loaded with 30 bullets. Enough to fight with, but not enough to waste shots. She could hear more men moving around the warehouse. Some were trying to surround her. Others were guarding the exit so she could not escape. But Maya was not planning to escape. "Not without the women in the cages, Rodriguez," Maya shouted. "Let the women go and maybe I won't kill all of you." Rodriguez laughed. "You're outnumbered 10 to 1. You're trapped." "No," Maya said quietly. "You're trapped in here with me." Maya moved quickly to a new position behind some old machinery. She could see better from here. The warehouse had 2 levels. The main floor where she was, and a second level with offices and walkways above. Maya counted the men she could see. 8 on the ground floor. 3 more on the upper level. Rodriguez was hiding behind a desk near the back of the warehouse. But Maya also saw something else. In one of the cages, a woman was gesturing to her. The woman pointed toward the back wall and made hand signals. Maya recognized the hand signals. They were military signs used by special forces. This woman was a soldier or agent just like Maya. The woman pointed to herself and held up 2 fingers. Then she pointed to other cages and held up more fingers. Maya understood. There were at least 5 trained women among the prisoners. If Maya could free them, the odds would change quickly. Maya looked for the keys to the cages. She saw them hanging on Rodriguez's belt. She would have to get close to him to take them. First, she needed to clear out some of his men. Maya spotted a man with a pistol trying to sneak up on her left side. She waited until he was close, then rolled out from behind the machinery and shot him in the leg. He fell down and did not get up. 2 more men came running toward the sound of the gunshot. Maya shot one in the shoulder and the other in the arm. She was not trying to kill them if she could help it. Maya needed some of them alive to answer questions. "She's behind the red machine," one of the wounded men shouted. Maya was already moving to a new position. She climbed onto some metal pipes and pulled herself up toward the second level. From up here, Maya could see the whole warehouse. It was even worse than she had thought. There were not 30 women in cages. There were at least 50, maybe more in the shipping containers. Maya also saw something that made her understand how big this operation really was. In one corner of the warehouse, there were computers and filing cabinets. This was not just a place to hold prisoners. It was a business headquarters. On the walls, Maya could see charts and maps, names and pictures of women, shipping schedules, bank account information. This was not just Rodriguez's operation. This was part of something much bigger. An international business that bought and sold people like products. Maya took pictures with her phone while she moved across the upper walkway. Her bosses at the agency would want to see all of this. A man with a shotgun appeared at the top of the stairs leading to the second level. Maya shot him in the foot before he could raise his weapon. He fell down the stairs. "Where is she?" Rodriguez was shouting. "Find her!" Maya was right above Rodriguez now. She could jump down and take him, but first she wanted to see what was on his desk. Maya could see computer screens showing bank accounts with millions of dollars. Shipping schedules showing boats leaving for Asia and Eastern Europe. Lists of names with prices next to them. The prices made Maya feel sick. These people were selling human beings for $50,000 each. Some of the younger women had higher prices. Maya saw her own name on one of the lists. Maya Chen, 100,000. Special order. Combat trained. Someone had paid extra money specifically for Maya. Someone who wanted a woman who knew how to fight. Maya heard footsteps on the walkway behind her. She spun around and saw 2 men with rifles coming toward her. Maya shot one in the knee. The other man dropped his rifle and ran away. "I surrender," the running man shouted. "Don't shoot!" Maya let him go. She had bigger problems. Down on the main floor, she could see Rodriguez talking on his phone again. "Yes, sir," Rodriguez was saying. "We have a problem. She's some kind of professional." "No, sir, we can't contain her." "Yes, sir, I understand." Rodriguez hung up and shouted to his remaining men. "Change of plans. Load the containers now. We're moving out in 1 hour." Maya felt panic. If they loaded those women into shipping containers, Maya might never find them again. She had to act fast. Maya dropped down from the walkway, landing right behind Rodriguez. Before he could turn around, Maya had her arm around his throat and the rifle pointed at his head. "Keys," Maya said quietly in his ear. "Go to hell," Rodriguez said. Maya pressed the rifle harder against his head. "I've killed better men than you for less important reasons. Keys now." Rodriguez reached slowly for his belt and unhooked the key ring. "Toss them toward the cages," Maya said. Rodriguez threw the keys. They landed near the cage where the woman with military training was waiting. The woman caught the keys and immediately started unlocking her cage. "Ladies," Maya shouted. "Anyone with military or police training, speak up. We're getting out of here." 5 women raised their hands. Maya smiled. Now the real fight could begin. Maya kept the rifle pressed against Rodriguez's head, while the trained women unlocked the other cages. She could hear the sound of metal doors opening and women helping each other get out. "Move slowly," Maya told the other prisoners. "Stay behind the cages until I tell you it's safe." The woman with military training picked up the rifle from the man Maya had shot earlier. She moved like a professional soldier. "Marine Corps," the woman said to Maya. "Staff Sergeant Lisa Park. You?" "Government," Maya said. "Details later," Lisa nodded. She understood. Some jobs could not be talked about openly. Maya was about to tell Rodriguez to call off his remaining men when she heard a slow clap from behind her. Maya spun around, keeping Rodriguez in front of her as a human shield. A man was walking toward them from the back of the warehouse. He was tall and thin with gray hair and expensive clothes. Maya had never seen him before, but something about him made her feel cold inside. "Very impressive," the man said in an accent Maya recognized. Russian, but not surprising. "Who are you?" Maya demanded. The man smiled. "Someone who has been looking forward to meeting you for a very long time." Maya felt Rodriguez's body tense up in her arms. He was scared of this Russian man. "Very scared, Mr. Kozlov," Rodriguez said in a shaky voice. "I can explain." "Quiet," Kozlov said. He was still looking at Maya. "Do you know who I am, Agent?" Agent, he knew Maya was not just a regular person. Maya studied Kozlov's face. Something about him seemed familiar, but she could not place where she had seen him before. "Should I?" Maya asked. "Oh, I think you should," Kozlov said. "After all, you killed me once before." Maya's blood went cold. She knew who this man was now. Viktor Kozlov, Russian arms dealer and human trafficker. Maya had killed him 3 years ago in a mission in Eastern Europe. She had shot him in the chest and watched him fall into a river. She had seen his body disappear under the water, but here he was standing in front of her, very much alive. "Surprised?" Kozlov asked. "I admit you came very close. The bullet went right through my lung. I was in the hospital for 6 months. Maya's mind was racing. If Kozlov was alive, that meant he had been planning revenge for 3 years. This whole operation might be designed to trap her. "Let me guess," Maya said. "You found out I was taking a break from work. You set up this whole trafficking ring just to get me here." "Oh no," Kozlov said. "The trafficking ring is a real business. Very profitable. But when I learned that several American female agents were on leave at the same time, I saw an opportunity." He gestured toward the other women Maya had helped free. "Agent Park there is actually CIA," Kozlov said. "The blonde woman in cage 7 is FBI. The redhead is Army intelligence. And you, my dear, are the most dangerous of them all." Maya felt sick. All of these trained women had been targeted specifically because of their jobs. "How did you find us?" Maya asked. "You people are not as invisible as you think," Kozlov said. "When you rent houses, you leave digital footprints. When you choose neighborhoods, you follow patterns. When you exercise, you create routines." He pulled out a tablet and showed Maya the screen. It showed a map with red dots in different cities. "My people have been tracking unusual rental activity in expensive neighborhoods for 2 years," Kozlov said. "Single women paying cash. No job history. Perfect credit scores that appear overnight." It was not hard to figure out. Maya realized how stupid she had been. She thought taking a break would make her safe. But her careful habits and fake identity had actually made her a target. "What do you want?" Maya asked originally. "Just you," Kozlov said. "I wanted you to suffer like I suffered. But then I realized how valuable you all are." He gestured toward the shipping containers. "Do you know how much certain people will pay for a trained female operative?" Kozlov asked. Governments, terrorist groups, criminals who need someone eliminated. The market is very strong. Maya understood now. Kozlov was not just selling these women as slaves. He was selling them as weapons. Trained killers who could be forced to work for anyone with enough money. You're insane, Maya said. I'm practical, Kozlov said. But enough talking. I have a schedule to keep. Kozlov nodded to someone Maya could not see. Suddenly, men with rifles appeared from behind the shipping containers. At least 10 of them, all pointing their weapons at Maya and the other women. Drop your weapon, Kozlov said, or I will have my men shoot the civilians first. Maya looked at the scared faces of the women who had no military training. Young women who had been kidnapped just because they fit a certain profile. They did not deserve to die because of Maya's choices. Maya lowered her rifle. Smart choice, Kozlov said. Rodriguez, tie her up. Use chains this time, not zip ties. Rodriguez was shaking as he reached for some chains hanging on the wall. Maya could tell he was terrified of Kozlov. But as Rodriguez got closer, Maya heard something that made her smile. Sirens. Far away, but getting closer. Kozlov heard them too. His face went dark with anger. How? He demanded. Maya reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. On the screen was a text message she had sent earlier. GPS location. Send backup. Multiple hostages. Armed suspects. I sent that message when you were busy giving your evil villain speech, Maya said. Kozlov pulled out a gun and pointed it at Maya's head. It doesn't matter, he said. I'll kill you now and escape in the chaos. You could try, Maya said. But you should know something first. What? Maya smiled. I didn't come here alone. The warehouse lights suddenly went out. In the darkness, Maya could hear the sound of windows breaking and doors being smashed open. FBI. Everyone on the ground. Kozlov fired his gun, but Maya had already moved. In the darkness and confusion, she rolled away and grabbed Rodriguez's gun. Red laser dots appeared all over Kozlov's chest. Government snipers had him in their sights. It's over, Victor, Maya said. This time I'm making sure you stay dead. The real Maya Chen was back. The warehouse exploded into action. Government agents poured through every entrance. Maya could see their red laser sights cutting through the darkness, marking targets. Maya, get down, a familiar voice shouted. Maya recognized the voice of her boss, Director Harrison. She dropped to the floor as gunfire erupted around her. Kozlov's men were trying to fight, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Maya's backup team had brought enough firepower to handle a small army. In the flashing lights of the gunfire, Maya could see Lisa Park and the other trained women herding the civilian prisoners toward the exits. They moved like professionals, keeping low and protecting the innocent women. Maya rolled toward where she had last seen Kozlov. She found him crouched behind a concrete pillar, still holding his gun. Give up, Victor, Maya said. You're surrounded. Never, Kozlov snarled. He fired at Maya, but the bullet hit the concrete above her head. Maya fired back. Her shot hit Kozlov in the shoulder, spinning him around. His gun flew out of his hand and disappeared into the shadows. This is for everyone you hurt, Maya said, standing over him. But before she could fire again, someone grabbed her arm. Maya, no, it was Director Harrison. We need him alive. Maya looked down at Kozlov, who was bleeding and gasping for air. She wanted to finish him for good this time. But Harrison was right. Kozlov had information about other operations, other victims. Medic, Maya called out. We have a wounded prisoner. The gunfire was stopping now. Maya could hear her team shouting, clear, from different parts of the warehouse. They had taken control. Emergency lights came on, flooding the warehouse with bright white light. Maya could finally see everything clearly. The scene was worse than she had imagined. There were not 50 women in the warehouse. There were over 100. Some in cages, some in shipping containers, some in hidden rooms Maya had not seen in the dark. Maya felt sick thinking about how close Kozlov had come to shipping all these women to different countries. How many casualties? Harrison asked one of the agents. 3 of Kozlov's men down, none dead, the agent reported. Rodriguez is wounded but stable. All hostages are accounted for and safe. Maya was amazed. Her team had taken down a major trafficking operation without killing anyone. That took incredible skill and planning. How did you find us so fast? Maya asked Harrison. Harrison smiled. You think we just let our best agent go on vacation without keeping an eye on her? Maya realized she should have known. The government never really lets go of people like her. They had been watching her the whole time, ready to help if she got in trouble. We've been tracking this trafficking ring for months, Harrison explained. When you disappeared this morning, your GPS tracker went offline in an area we were already watching. GPS tracker? Maya asked. Harrison pointed to Maya's running shoes. Built into the sole. You've been wearing government property this whole time. Maya looked down at her shoes and laughed. She had thought she was living a normal life, but she was still connected to her old world. We mobilized as soon as we realized you were in trouble, Harrison continued. Good thing, too. We found evidence of trafficking operations in 12 different states. Maya looked around at all the computers and filing cabinets. This was bigger than just Kozlov. Much bigger, Harrison agreed. This looks like it was coordinated with operations in Europe and Asia. We're going to be investigating this for years. A medic was working on Kozlov's shoulder. He was conscious but weak. Victor, Maya said, kneeling down next to him. How many other women did you take? Kozlov just glared at her. We're going to find out anyway, Maya said. Cooperate now and maybe you get to live in a regular prison instead of a military black site. Kozlov's eyes went wide. Military black sites were places where people disappeared forever. The files, Kozlov said weakly. Everything is in the computer files. Names, locations, shipping records. Maya looked at Harrison, who nodded to one of the tech agents. They would crack those computers and find everyone. What about Frank and Dave? Maya asked. The fake cops who grabbed me. Already in custody, Harrison said. Turns out they were just low-level recruiters. They grabbed women jogging in nice neighborhoods and brought them here. Maya shook her head. They picked the wrong woman to grab. Actually, Harrison said, they picked exactly the right woman. If they had grabbed someone else, we might never have found this place. Maya looked around at all the rescued women. Some were crying with relief. Others were hugging each other. A few were already asking when they could call their families. Lisa Park walked over to Maya and Harrison. Agent Chen, she said, I wanted to thank you. If you hadn't acted when you did, we might all be on a boat to somewhere horrible right now. Just doing my job, Maya said. Is it though? Harrison asked. I thought you were retired. Maya thought about that. For the last few hours, she had felt more alive than she had in months of normal life. Maybe retirement doesn't suit me, Maya said. Harrison smiled. There's a lot of work to do cleaning up this trafficking network. We could use someone with your skills. Maya looked around the warehouse one more time. At the rescued women, at the evidence of crimes prevented, at the bad people who would never hurt anyone again. When do we start? Maya asked. How about tomorrow? Harrison said. After you finish your morning jog, of course, Maya laughed. I think I'm done jogging in Willowbrook for a while. Actually, Harrison said, your neighbors have been asking about you. Apparently some of them saw the FBI raid this morning. They want to make sure you're okay. Maya was surprised. Really? Turns out people care more than you think, Harrison said. Even when they don't know the whole story. As Maya walked out of the warehouse, she thought about her neighbors in Willowbrook. People who had watched her with suspicion, but now were worried about her safety. Maybe there was hope for a normal life after all. Just not the kind she had expected. 3 weeks later, Maya was jogging through Willowbrook again, but this time everything was different. Mrs. Patterson, the old woman who used to stare at her while watering flowers, now waved and smiled. Good morning, Maya. Beautiful day for a run. Maya waved back. Good morning, Mrs. Patterson. The man who used to frown while washing his car now nodded respectfully. His teenage son had even asked Maya to sign a baseball for him. You're like a real superhero, the boy had said. Maya smiled, thinking about how much had changed since that morning when Frank and Dave had grabbed her. The news had been full of stories about the trafficking ring for weeks. Largest human trafficking bust in state history, the headlines read. Over 200 women rescued in multi-state operation. Maya's real name had not been in any of the news reports. The government kept her identity secret to protect her future missions, but somehow, her neighbors had figured out that the quiet woman who jogged every morning was the same person who had taken down an international criminal organization. Maya reached the park where everything had started. It looked peaceful now. Children were playing on the swings. Mothers were pushing strollers. Normal neighborhood life, but Maya would never see it the same way again. She knew how close this peaceful place had come to being part of something terrible. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from Director Harrison. Court hearing today, ready? Maya typed back. On my way. Maya finished her run and drove to the federal courthouse downtown. Today was the day Viktor Kozlov would be sentenced. In the 3 weeks since his arrest, Kozlov had given the government information about trafficking operations around the world. Partly because he wanted a lighter sentence, but mostly because he was terrified of spending his life in a military prison. Maya walked into the courtroom and sat in the back. She could see Kozlov at the defendant's table, wearing an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs. He looked older and smaller than he had in the warehouse. Frank and Dave were sitting at another table with their lawyers. They had already pleaded guilty to kidnapping and trafficking charges. Frank would spend 20 years in prison. Dave, who had cooperated with investigators, would spend 10 years. Maya felt sorry for Dave. He had been stupid and weak, but not truly evil like Frank and Kozlov. The judge called the court to order. Mr. Kozlov, the judge said, you have been found guilty of human trafficking, kidnapping, and conspiracy charges. Before I sentence you, do you have anything to say? Kozlov stood up slowly. He looked around the courtroom until his eyes found Maya. I have one thing to say, Kozlov said. I underestimated Agent Chen. That was my mistake. The judge nodded. Viktor Kozlov, I sentence you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Maya felt a wave of relief wash over her. Kozlov would never hurt anyone again. After the hearing, Maya met Harrison in the hallway outside the courtroom. How do you feel? Harrison asked. Good, Maya said. Justice was done. What about the other part of your decision? Harrison asked. Are you sure you want to come back to work? Maya had thought about this a lot over the past 3 weeks. She had tried to live a normal life, but normal life had found her anyway. Maybe she was meant to do this job. I'm sure, Maya said. But I have some conditions. Such as? I keep the house in Willowbrook, Maya said. I want a base where I can come back to between missions. Done, Harrison said. And I want to work on cases like this one, Maya continued. Human trafficking, crimes against women and children, things that matter. Also done, Harrison said. Anything else? I want to help train the other agents we rescued, Maya said. Lisa Park and the others. They went through something traumatic, but they're also experienced professionals. They could help other victims, Harrison smiled. Already in the works? We're setting up a new task force focused on international trafficking. You'll be leading it. Maya felt excited for the first time in months. This was work that would make a real difference. When do I start? Maya asked. Next week, Harrison said. But first, I believe you have a neighborhood barbecue to attend. Maya laughed. Mrs. Patterson had invited the whole neighborhood to a barbecue to properly welcome Maya to Willowbrook. Maya had tried to decline, but Mrs. Patterson would not take no for an answer. You saved our neighborhood, Mrs. Patterson had said. The least we can do is make you feel welcome. That afternoon, Maya walked to Mrs. Patterson's backyard. Half the neighborhood was there. People she had never talked to came up to thank her. We're sorry we were suspicious of you at first, said Mr. Johnson, the man who used to watch her from his yard. We didn't understand. You didn't have enough information to understand, Maya said. I looked suspicious because I was hiding something. But you were hiding it for good reasons, said Sarah Miller, one of the mothers Maya had seen walking with strollers. You were protecting all of us. Maya realized something important. These people had not been racist monsters. They had been worried neighbors trying to protect their community. When they learned the truth about Maya, they had changed their minds immediately. I want to apologize too, Maya said. I should have tried harder to be a good neighbor. I was so focused on keeping secrets that I forgot to be friendly. Well, you're stuck with us now, Mrs. Patterson said, bringing Maya a plate of food. We're not letting our neighborhood hero leave anytime soon. Maya looked around at all the smiling faces. Children were playing in the yard. Adults were laughing and talking. Normal people living normal lives. For years, Maya had fought to protect people like this. But she had never really spent time with them. She had never understood what she was fighting for. Now she did. As the sun started to set, Maya found herself sitting on Mrs. Patterson's back porch with a group of neighbors. They were asking her questions about her work, but not in a nosy way. They seemed genuinely interested in understanding. Do you ever get scared? Asked teenage Jessica from down the street. All the time, Maya said honestly. Fear keeps you alert. It helps you make good decisions. But you do it anyway, said Mr. Johnson. Someone has to, Maya said. And I'm good at it. We're lucky you chose our neighborhood for your vacation, Mrs. Patterson said. Maya thought about that. She had chosen Willowbrook randomly, just because it was available, but maybe it was not random after all. Maybe she had been meant to be here when those women needed help. I'm lucky too, Maya said. I learned something important here. What's that? Sarah asked. Maya looked around at her neighbors. People who had accepted her despite not understanding her. People who cared about each other and their community. I learned that normal life isn't boring, Maya said. It's precious, and it's worth fighting for. As Maya walked home that night, she felt something she had not felt in years. She felt like she belonged somewhere. Tomorrow she would go back to her dangerous job fighting bad people in dark places. But now she would always have this place to come back to. A neighborhood full of people who knew who she really was and accepted her anyway. Maya looked up at the stars and smiled. Maybe she could have both worlds after all. The important work she was meant to do and the normal life she had always wanted. It would not be easy. But the best things in life never were. Maya went inside her house and started planning her next mission. There were more women out there who needed help. More criminals who needed to be stopped. And Maya Chen was ready for all of it.